Welcome to the Headley Highlight Show's Headley Headspaces. And this headspace is called Peter Mandelson, the Prince of Darkness. With a name like that, don't you think he required a bit more of a significant background check, Mr. Starmer? So before I jump into Peter Mandelson, the Prince of Darkness, with a name like that, don't you think you should have had a better background check, Mr. Starmer? I'd like to firstly say thank you to everyone who's been jumping all over my YouTube. People, I've got 2,000 subscribers, 2001, and I started posting in earnest in February of this year, and I've gone from 64 to 2001, and I think it's fabulous, and I'm really proud of myself. I'm really proud of the guy who works with me, BB Links, and I'm really, really pleased with all the people who give me their listening ear every week, make comments, like, share, and donate to my channel and to my continued content creation. Thank you so much. I just want to give you a round of applause already, because without you, this is not moving anywhere. Right, so let's jump straight in. Oh yes, I'm very partial to 3 Wings and Chips and a Miranda, and I'm also very partial to a bit of Bitcoin, or if you've got a tip for me, might be something worthwhile, let me know. Drop it in the DMs, darling. So now that we've done that significant preamble, let's jump straight into my headspace this week, which is called Peter Mandelson, the Prince of Darkness. With a name like that, you'd think Mr. Starmer would have done a bit more on the background checks. So for all of those individuals who don't know anything about what's going on at the moment, Peter Mandelson was the ambassador, was being the operative words because he's basically toast. He was the ambassador to America, and he has been finally sacked after the Prime Minister gave him his endorsement and his full confidence.
Mr. Speaker, the relationship between the US and the UK is one of our foremost relationships, and I have confidence in the ambassador in the role that he is doing.
24 hours later, at 11 o'clock today, Stephen Doherty said, Foreign Office Minister, enter in at stage left. Stephen Doherty, Foreign Office Minister.
In light of additional information in emails written by Peter Mandelson, the Prime Minister has asked the Foreign Secretary to withdraw him as ambassador to the United States. The emails show, Mr. Speaker, that the depth and extent of Lord Mandelson's relationship with Jeffrey Epstein is materially different from that known at the time of his appointment.
That's always very interesting. What was known at the time of his appointment is materially different from what's known today.
In particular, Mr. Speaker, Lord Mandelson's suggestion that Jeffrey Epstein's first conviction was wrongful and should be challenged is new information.
So essentially, Keir Starmer came out just like he did with Angela Rayner and backed her, and he had full confidence in her in a similar way as he had full confidence in Mr. Mandelson. But then after considerable leaks and the drip feed of stuff to the newspapers, Mr. Mandelson has been removed from the government. He has been removed because he had a friendship with Mr. Jeffrey Epstein, the most notorious sex offender this side of the 20th century. This friendship spanned possibly the best part of 20 years, to the extent where Mr. Mandelson appears to have written a love letter to Mr. Epstein on his 50th birthday. The excerpts, which read a bit like 2 young boys embarking on a relationship of discovery with each other and the world, in my opinion, having seen some of the excerpts. In the letter, he refers to Jeffrey Epstein as being his best pal, as parachuting in and out of his life, appearing in spaces that he doesn't expect, on yachts and islands. And he had a picture of the island where quite a lot of the abuse took place, and underneath it he said, "Your best pal, yum yum." And I don't think he was referring to the hors d'oeuvres. So after giving his full confidence and then the next day having Mr. Mandelson resign, I think demonstrates a number of things. Number one, it demonstrates poor judgment on behalf of the Prime Minister, Mr. Keir Starmer, who I've often said is a marionette leader, languishing along with his colleagues on 11% in the polls in terms of their ratings. Not only does it show poor judgment on his part, given that the second week of the autumn term has been marked with a reshuffle, and you also have had Angela Rayner move out to the backbenches. You also have a deputy leadership election taking place. And you have the state visit of Mr. Trump coming to the UK, and we don't have an ambassador to greet him. All of this in my book speaks to a leader not in charge of anything, and even the crisis management team haven't returned from the summer recess. In addition to that, this speaks to not just poor judgment. I mean, anybody who knows anything about Peter Mandelson, he was a councillor in 1979 in Lambeth. He's risen up the ranks. And during that period, he earned himself the name the Prince of Darkness. He was sacked from two very high-profile roles, one in 1998, where he was the Trade and Industry Secretary, and then again in 2001, where he was the Northern Ireland Secretary, both of them amid murky dealings. And he's a lobbyist and has represented a whole range of individuals. And it's noted that even after Mr. Epstein was a convicted predator, Mr. Mandelson still stayed in his house and conducted a deal with an American bank worth £1 billion. Mr. Epstein's was not just interested in child trafficking, in my opinion. No, from my own research, he was involved in money laundering and the movement of weapons, as well as the transhumanist movement. Aside from that slight, sidebar I've taken you off in, but the point I'm making is that Mr. Mandelson's judgment at any stage in his political career is questionable, given the company he's keeping. Kemi Badenoch has a view.
The Daily Telegraph reports today that while Lord Mandelson was business secretary, he brokered a deal with Jeffrey Epstein while he was business secretary, and that this occurred after Epstein had been convicted of child sex offences.
There's no way you're going to tell me that there wasn't proper scrutiny done in relation to what Mr. Mandelson was doing, who he was working with, and what groups he was representing. And the reason this is important, because it speaks once again to Mr. Starmer's judgment. Don't tell me that they didn't know what type of individual the Prince of Darkness was, what he was involved in, what his taste and his enjoyments were, and how he used to like spending that time with individuals with like-minded taste and like-minded ambitions, namely Mr. Epstein. And given the surveillance state we live in, let's not forget we've got the online harms bill and how that is peering into ordinary people's lives. Don't tell me people didn't know what his associations were. This information about Mr. Epstein and his friendship with Lord Mandelson is a matter of public record. And according to a report by JP Morgan, he was staying in his house whilst Mr. Epstein was in jail. Doing what? Couldn't you stay in a travel lodge, Mr. Mandelson? What was it specifically about Mr. Epstein's address that was such a pull? I wonder. So I'm not buying any of this whole thing that Mr. Starmer just only recently found out about what was going on with Mr. Mandelson. I'm not buying that for 1 minute. Mr. Mandelson has been in politics for nearly 30 years. He's a known quantity for those individuals who need to know about him. And that includes Mr. Starmer. But it doesn't matter because he still appointed him. He still has to be the person that the buck stops with. And his judgment is poor. And in recent weeks, the Labour Party has been engulfed with sleaze. If it isn't your housing minister housing herself whilst also trying to evade housing taxes and she's the housing minister as well as that for local communities and government, you got your foreign secretary driving from one European state to the next at the public expense and also putting his Jaffa cakes down as an expense that he has to put onto the public purse. You have Lord Ali buying the Prime Minister clothes and his wife undergarments, as well as the Prime Minister staying in his house and giving political broadcasts from his spare bedroom, decorated to look like a 10 Downing Street abode, even with flags in tow. You have a government that's just undergone a reshuffle, and within 2 weeks they've lost another high-profile scalp. And then you had another minister involved in some sort of corruption with family. I think it was in either India or Bangladesh recently. And another member of the Labour Party. And they came in, do not forget, on the grounds that they were going to clean up politics and they were the grown-ups in the room. Really? It doesn't appear so to me. Mr. Mandelson is well known in the political circles, yet Mr. Starmer still put him there. And now it's compromised the relationship that we have with America and also the state visit, because he's got less than 96 hours to find a replacement. I don't think Mr. Starmer is going to make the Christmas pudding this year. Absolutely not. I think he's toast, and I wouldn't be surprised if he goes before Halloween or before those Christmas gifts I saw in Home Bargains, which are already on the shelf, are sold out. He surrounded himself with individuals of less than questionable integrity, and in my opinion, Mr. Tony Blair is still running the Labour Party. He just has his current marionette in front of us, and the boy Streeting is chomping at the bit to dive into these Starmer tight boots at number 10. So I'm not surprised that Mr. Mandelson is gone. I'm more surprised that he was even given the opportunity to represent this country. I mean, out of interest, what is it that he does as a diplomat? I mean, what's the job description for that? And is there any performance-related pay? And is there an appraisal at the end of the year? Probably not. That's just for the little paper. What's your thoughts about what's gone on? Are you even bothered about the ambassador to America? Or are you bothered that the Labour Party's spin doctor kept realigning himself for the reset, and he never seems to really fall far away from the puddles of power that seep all over our democracy, not necessarily giving us what we need? Give me your thoughts, your 2 pence, your 3 cities, or your declining dollar price. Thank you for your listening here. Please make a donation and cut.